Hello and welcome to another episode of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Pullein and this week it's all about why I don't use my Google Calendar integration with Todoist. Now this is probably more a personal choice and a little bit of personal experience. The first one on personal choice. I have an aversion to anything that is duplicated within my system. Now this comes back from many years of working in an office, working in the hotel industry and various other places that I've worked. But duplication to me is an indication of inefficiency. And so anything that is duplicated in any of my systems, I am going to find a way to remove that duplication. And when I have a task in Todoist, and the same task on my calendar, that's duplication to me. Now this is just a personal thing, it's just an aversion I have, and I've come across so many inefficiencies in so many of the companies I've worked with where it's just constant duplication. One of the classic examples is when you're filling out, for example, a bank loan application or a mortgage application, how many times do you have to write your name and telephone number and address and whatever else and bank account numbers? Now it should only be once, but that's just my personal thing. The next one is also personal experience too, which is I have found with any integration, whether it's using Zapier's or if this then that, IFTTT, or Todoist and Google Calendar, these integrations from time to time break. They stop working. And when they stop working, you might be lucky and it might not cause any big difficulty in your system. But I've had so many emails from people saying that they had this integration set up with various apps and it stopped working and they never realized for 2 weeks, and then suddenly a major crisis happened simply because they missed something that should have been automated with an integration. I just have this thing. Integrations are not consistent, they break, and my task list and my overall calendar is way too important to allow things to break. So those are the main reasons why I don't do this. Now I want to show you a couple of other things that I've noticed with these integrations, and I'll take you into Todoist and I'll show you those. Won't take long, but let me show you those. Now before we go any further, I would just like to say if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Todoist, then please subscribe to my channel. Let me take you into my Todoist now and I'll show you a couple of other reasons why I just don't like using Google Calendar to schedule my tasks. So let me show you what I mean by duplication. So I'm in my this week folder because I have this connected to my Google Calendar. So I'm going to add a task in here, which is going to say that I'm going to call James about Jamaica trip, and on Monday at 11:15. Now, or 11:17. Let's do it 11:15. Oops, that's right. We're going to do. Let's get that right. 11:15. I'm going to add that task in there. So that's now showing up for Monday at 11:15. Now, what I'll need to do is just refresh this just to make sure that it goes through to Google Calendar. And now if we go over to my Google Calendar, we've got it's come in right here. Now the thing is, as I was doing that, that's now coming into my audio visual time. And I really don't need that. So now I'm going to have to go back to Todoist and I'm going to have to change that particular time. But the same could be something like this. I could do record YouTube videos on Friday at 3 p.m. and I can add that task. So that's now come in. It's coming in today at 3 p.m. Let's go over here, see if it's come in. I'll refresh my Google Calendar and let's see what happens. And we'll go back to this week. And it's come in here. But I've already done my audio visual time. I'm actually doing it right now. And it's also scheduling this for 30 minutes, which is actually the default that I've set just when I was setting up Google Calendar to be able to demonstrate it to you. Now, the other problem that I have with actually having my Google Calendar is, as I mentioned in the introduction, is duplication. And right here, I've got duplication coming up all the way here. I've got all my tasks right here. I also have all my tasks right here. Why do I need it in two places? Now, the main reason for me is that my task list can be done at any time in the day. I mean, if you just look, let's go into my Today view. This is my demo account, but if I go in here, okay, I set that one up. So I've got record YouTube videos. Now, that can be done technically at any time in the day, but I do have a scheduled block for recording YouTube videos right here. So I can do that at any time in the day, as I'm doing it right now. As you can see, the time now is just after 2 p.m. and I didn't do it first thing this morning because I had something else that I needed to do. So I had to reschedule it. But it doesn't matter. It's a task as long as it gets done today. Write the podcast script. Well, I don't actually have any writing time today, but I do have a block of time, or did have a block of time this morning. And so I use my calendar to tell me the type of work I'm doing. As you can see, let's go into next week so it's just a bit clearer. I've got my writing time here. I've got audio visual time here. So this is time that I can use to record stuff, whether it's a podcast or whether it's a video. I've got my writing time right here. I've got my writing time right here. I've got my online course development time. So if I've got a task in the week that I know I need to work on a specific online course, I know I've got a big block of time on Wednesday to be able to work on that. So I can be a little bit more specific about in here. So that's the reason why I don't actually put my tasks into my calendar. And as I mentioned, the thing is, this sometimes breaks. And as you can see right here, I've got these tasks hanging around up here that I've actually completed, but although they're not showing completed. So now I've got a bit of confusion, and I don't need that in my life. It is much easier to have a complete clean barrier between my calendar and my Todoist. And I can then make sure, as I'm doing my weekly planning, as I mentioned last week, I know that when I do my weekly planning tomorrow, which will be a Saturday, I've got all these blocks which I know will take care of all my regular work that I need to do. It also like exercise, for example. It's on my calendar. I don't need to see it in Todoist. It doesn't have to come up in Todoist. And so I can now make sure that if I need writing, I've got plenty of writing time each week. I've got 4 hours of writing time each week, and I've got enough space in my calendar to be able to add more if I need more time to write. I've got plenty of time for audiovisual. I've got 3 hours on a Friday, I've got 2.5 hours on a Thursday, and I've got 2.5 hours on a Monday. So I've got plenty of time for recording videos and my podcast. So throughout the week, I know that I've got time. These are all fixed. These, if I go forward here, you'll see that these blocks are all fixed in my calendar. So it's great that I can see that. And so when I'm doing my weekly planning session, I know what I have to do. And if I see that I've got additional articles to write or additional videos to write, I can then just go into my calendar and add a few more blocks. And that's the reason why I don't have Todoist, I'm going to turn it off now, linked into my calendar, because my calendar is sacred. What goes on here gets done. And the beauty of it is if I get all my writing done first thing Monday morning, I can now cancel out these blocks. I can use them for something else, although I generally don't. So there you go. That's why I don't link my calendar to my real Todoist, because as I mentioned at the introduction, first of all, my task can be done at any time in the day whenever I get time. And secondly, the technology isn't consistent enough for me to be able to have a long-term trust that it's going to work. And I just don't need that hassle of technology breaking or the link breaking between Todoist and Google. And this isn't just a thing between Google and Todoist. This can happen with any kind of application and integrations. Things stop working. I have this with Buffer, which I use for my social media scheduling. Quite often LinkedIn disconnects from my buffer and I have to re-establish the connection. I don't need all that hassle. I just want things to work. And sometimes the way to ensure that is just to spend an extra few minutes and just have that manual input. This area, the work that you're doing and your calendar are just too important to risk technology breaking on you. That's the way I feel about it. It's just my personal opinion. You may feel something completely different. But anyway, hopefully that's cleared up everything that came up from the questions and comments that came up from last week's video. Thank you very much for watching this episode. And it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.